Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Fish, and today we're going to be doing my October and November wrap up. So let's start with October. So October, I read 8 books and a total of 2,297 pages. So for star ratings, I got 1 5 stars, 3 4 stars, 2 3 stars, 2 2 stars, and 2 DNFs. Genre-wise, I got 2 graphic novels, 2 thrillers, 2 horrors, and 2 fantasy. Age range, I got 7 adult and 1 YA. So in terms of mode of reading, I got 2 books for my physical TBR and 6 books for my Kindle. 6 of them were ebooks, 2 of them were books. So those are my stats for October, and I think it's just an ordinary month, I think so, except there were 2 DNFs and 2 2 stars, which is unusual for me. I think I was just very set on what I wanted to read for the month and I just didn't want to waste time. So let's start with the 2 DNFs. The first DNF was The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. I got this arc from NetGalley. It should be out by now. But what I didn't like about this book was the writing style. It was very Victorian, but also there were a lot of run-on sentences that I did not like and did not make sense. Like, it wasn't just me. I showed it to a couple of my friends and Sam as well, and we all agreed this author did not make sense. I struggled reading the first 10% of the book because I just had to keep rereading sentences because I did not understand what the author was trying to say. The concept though was very interesting because the concept is basically about this, I think, Victorian England, and we live in a world where women have magic, but then the magic goes away when they get married and then their magic gets passed on to their children. Women are basically forced to get married so they can lose their magical powers and also transfer it into their child. So the concept is interesting, but the writing style was just not for me. The second DNF was called The Subjects by Sarah Hopkins, another arc that I got a very long time ago, I'm sorry. But it's definitely out by now if you want to check it out. Again, concept was great, but the writing style was just not for me at all. So this book is basically following this main character who is on trial for getting caught for drug dealing, and as punishment the judge says that he has to be sent to a facility for a few months, I think. I'm not too sure. It's been a while now. So while at this facility there are other kids in that facility, but no one knows why they're there, so that's where you read the book and try and find out. But again, writing style was definitely not for me. The main character was also very annoying, and I just could not keep up with the book and the character as well, hence the DNF. So let's move on to my 2-star ratings. So the first one that has the lowest rating is Crossroads by Laurel Hightower. I gave this a 3.4 out of 10, which is a 2-star rating. So this is a very short horror novel. It's an adult horror novel, and I actually got this recommendation from Lezlie from the Nerdy Narrative. She was doing a whole indie self-published horror novel reviews in October, so I picked this one because of a recommendation. The concept again sounds great. It's just I wasn't a fan of the execution, and also I didn't relate too much to the main character. So Crossroads is essentially about this mother who has just lost her son in a car accident, and while she's at her son's grave she sees him as a ghost. So we're basically trying to figure out if that's actually her son or something else. Concept is great, very creepy. Actually, the whole book was actually very creepy, gory. It was great. But one, I did not really relate to our main character, who's a mom who just lost a child. I understand grief. That theme I definitely understand, but motherhood and just loving unconditionally for a child, obviously I do not relate to it, but I do understand it to a certain extent, whereas our main character has gone above and beyond from what I think should happen. It's just basically me. Like Lezlie also said, I'm pretty sure that she is also not a mother, so she does not relate. It's the same thing for me, and also the execution was not great. At least I think so, because it's a very short novel, but it felt really long because it was dragged out. I know it's meant to get to know a character more and her motives and what lengths she would go to protect her son. So anyway, I did not enjoy it as much as I wanted to, hence 2 stars. The next 2-star rating book is Prosperous Demon by KJ Parker, and I gave this a 3.7 out of 10. So I just needed something short just before the end of the month finishers. I think I had like 2 or 3 days till the end of October, so I thought, hey, why not read a short horror novel again? And I thought this would be cool because again, the concept was great. So we're following this priest who exorcises demons for a living. Wow, I'm trying to remember what happens, but I seriously could not. That's how much I did not like this book. So writing style was pretty good here and there. I like the dark vibe that the writing style has, but to me it was just boring. It was very, very boring. And also the ending was definitely not satisfying. So not satisfying to what I thought was gonna happen. So, all right, let's move on to our 3-star rating books, and the first one that I'm gonna mention is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, and I gave this a 6.4 out of 10. So I buddy read this with Sam and Abby from Shelf Space. We read it in like 3 days. It was very, very quick read. I really enjoyed it, but we were all waiting for a twist that was just not there. So that was a bit disappointing, hence my 3-star rating. And I think Abby and Sam gave it 2 stars. I gave it a 3 because I experienced a lot of emotions reading this. I had a lot of anxiety reading this. So the book is basically about this couple, Jack and Grace, that are perfect. Or are they? Because you don't know what goes behind closed doors. That's all you really need to know, to be honest, because everything else is just spoilers. I really enjoyed this, but because there was no twist that I was waiting for, I was very disappointed. I know it's stupid to expect a twist in a book, but it's a thriller and I thought there was one, but it's okay. I still really enjoyed it. I was anxious. There were a few twists that I did not see coming, which was great, but mostly it was just anxious and anger towards one of the main characters. So this was a really, really fun read. If you haven't, definitely pick this up for sure. I think you'll enjoy it, but just know there's no twist. Alright, so the next one I'm going to talk about is Lola, A Ghost Story by Jade Torres. So this is a graphic novel arc that I got from NetGalley. I was just trying to catch up with a lot of arcs in October, so this is one of my old arcs that I got, and I gave this a 6.9 out of 10, which is a 3-star rating. So this graphic novel explores a lot of grief. We basically follow this main character who goes to Philippines because his grandma just died. He goes to the Philippines for the funeral, and he meets the rest of his extended family that lives in the Philippines. Because he's from a Western country, he doesn't understand certain aspects of the culture, and we as readers also learn more about Philippines culture and different, I guess, myths and legends and ghost stories about them. It was a very, very interesting read. I just wish there was more, and I could not give it a higher rating because I didn't know more about the character. I didn't know more about his family because I couldn't connect to him more because it was very short, hence 3-star rating. But this was a very interesting read and very knowledgeable read because I got to learn more about the Philippines culture. So definitely check this out. It's definitely out by now. Alright, so let's now get into the 4-star rating section. And the next one I will talk about is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I gave this a 7.9 out of 10, which translates into a 4 stars. So I read this via Kindle, and because I like the series so much, I got the actual paperbacks and they're so pretty. I love it. Okay, so the highlight of my October was actually Jade City and Jade War, which I'll talk about in a little bit. It's just, I love this series so much. Like, it's so good and I cannot wait for the 3rd one. But anyway, this series is basically about... Hey guys, Editing Bish here. I didn't really explain what Jade City was about coherently. I don't know why, because I freaking love Jade City. I can talk about it all day. So Jade City is an adult Asian-inspired fantasy that deals with 2 rival clans in the city of Janloon. These 2 rival clans are the Nopi clan and the Mountain clan. So these 2 clans control the production and the distribution of jade, with also the government as well, but they both essentially control jade. In these 2 clans, there are people called Green Bones who are the only people that can use jade safely, and jade is essentially a gemstone that can increase one's abilities to do a variety of things like strength, lightness, perceptions, etc. Like I said, there's only specific people that can use jade, and because of that, a lot of people want to use jade, but they're not Green Bones. So someone made this drug called SN1, I'm pretty sure, and this drug mimics the ability of jade, or the drug helps the person use jade a lot better, because let's say if a normal person uses jade, they get crazy. Basically, their mind goes crazy. So the drug helps them to use jade. And of course, that's a problem, and obviously jade is also being sold illegally in the black market, and that's essentially what the series is about. So back to me again. So this entire series is about these two clans. So the perspectives we follow in here are family members of the No Peak clan. We occasionally get different like perspectives from just random people, but mainly we only get the perspectives of the No Peak clan family members. There's a lot of family drama, there's a lot of politics. It is so bloody good. And if you're expecting a lot of action, there's not really much action. There is action, but just not as much as you think it would be. I really enjoyed this book. I just really enjoyed the characters and the politics. That's like the highlight of this series. I love the characters so much. One of the characters in here is probably like one of my favorite characters of all time. I love her. And if you haven't read Jade City, please do. It's so bloody good. The next 4-star rating book is The Silent Patient by Alex McLadies, and I gave this book a 8.3 out of 10, which is a 4-star rating. So I buddy read this with a few people on Discord, Charmaine, Sharon, and a few other people. I'm sorry if I haven't mentioned your names because it's been more than a month. I'm sorry. But we buddy read this and we all actually really enjoyed it. So this book is about a girl named Alicia Berenson who murdered her husband one night and then stopped speaking. Like, no one knows what happens because she has refused to tell what happened. So that was 6 years ago. So present day, this, I guess, psychologist is going to treat her and try and find out what happened that night. I really enjoyed this. The twist was huge. Very huge. I did not see coming, but then when that twist happens, I thought to myself, how did I not see that coming? You know what I mean? But I just really enjoyed this. It's not my favorite, hence why it's a 4-star. This book deals a lot and talks a lot about mental health that I've actually never seen talked about like this in other thrillers, so I really appreciate it. It's very knowledgeable as well. And of course, the mystery and the twist was also really good. So if you haven't read this book, definitely check it out as well. Now, the last 4-star book is Jade War by Fonda Lee. I gave this an 8.9 out of 10, which is a 4-star rating. If I were to put 0.1 point into my co-pile rating, it would be a 9 out of 10, and that would be a 5-star. So let's get into why I gave it a 4-star. So basically this book takes place, I guess, 18 months after the events of Jade City. And I absolutely love Jade War. So what I used to describe Jade War is Jade City on steroids, because there were a few other countries that were mentioned in Jade City, but we didn't really explore those countries. In Jade War, we explore those countries and also learn about their politics as well as the politics in Janloon as well. So there's just a lot of drama, politics, and also a lot more action in here than in Jade City. And I absolutely love this. I think it may be my second favorite book all year. Well, you'll find out in my favorite books of 2020 video. This was so good. But why it's not a 5-star? In my opinion, when I finished the book and I just kind of sat and thought about it, this is not a spoiler. It's just, to me, the ending, it's literally back to where they started, but everyone has a lot more power now. So it's a bit like disappointing, but then also it's like, what else is gonna happen? There's so much more that can happen. But I feel like the same thing is going to happen in Jade Legacy, which is the 3rd book that's coming out next year. I'm super excited. But I just felt like we're just back to where we were in the 1st book. But again, everyone just has more power. So that was a bit disappointing, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was so good. So good. Now, let's get to my 1 5-star rating of the month. This is not like a hard 5 stars favorite of all time kind of thing. Let me just explain. So the book I read was Snug by Katana Chetwild. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like one of the Snug comics kind of thing. This was an arc as well from NetGalley that I read, and this book was freaking adorable. It's just about like relatable relationship in comic form. It's just, it was so bloody cute. I gave this a 9.4 out of 10, which is a 5-star. It's just like an easy 5-star because it was so freaking adorable. Me and Sam actually kind of read it together because I was reading it and I kept showing him the comics because it was so relatable, because we do that. So it was just very cute. And if you haven't picked this comic up, definitely do. So that is my October wrap up. Let's get to November. So for my November TBR, I did a bet on my TBR kind of video in the beginning of November, and a lot of you did comment, which is so sweet. Thank you so much for all the comments and all the guessings. I really do appreciate it, and there were a lot of good guesses, so again, thank you so much. Should I do like a drum roll kind of thing of, okay, drum roll please. I read 14 books in the month of November. I know, right? 14 books. I mean, I read 8 in October, and then I think 4 or 5 in September. I read 5 in September, 8 in October, and now 14 in November. It's insane. But I will tell you why I did 14. We'll get to that. Okay, so 14 books. No one guessed 14 books, but the closest was Ira Singh, who did guess 13 books. I tried contacting her. She did not get back to me, so I moved on and I picked the other closest, which is 12 books. And Angela from Literature Science Alliance, she guessed 12 books, and I contacted her and she let me know what book she wants me to read for December, and I will say what book it is in a sec. Let's get into the stats of November. All right, so November, 14 books, and the total page count is 4,161 pages. Jesus, that's a lot of pages, but I'm very proud of myself for doing it. Star rating wise, we have 9 5-star ratings, 2 4-star ratings, and 3 3-star ratings. I know what you're gonna say. 9 5-star ratings? You'll see. Genre-wise, we have 2 fantasy, 9 manga, 1 horror, 1 contemporary, and 1 historical fiction. Age range-wise, 10 YA and 4 adult. Mode of reading, I did 5 physical TBR books, 8 library books, and 1 Kindle book. And that would be 13 books and 1 ebook. Alright, so let's go from lowest rating to highest rating, as per usual. So there are 2 3-star books that actually have the same cop-out rating, so I'll talk about the one that I read first, which is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I gave this a 5.3 out of 10, which is a 3-star rating. So we follow this girl, Galadriel, and she is in this school, the Scholomance. It's basically a school for people who have magical powers all over the world. Anyone can get in there. And the school is not a normal school. This school is a very dangerous school. So there's no teachers. So it's like a school, but like it's kind of round. So the freshmen start at the top, and then as they go around the year, they get pushed down to the bottom, and then seniors get pushed down to the absolute bottom. And the seniors have this thing called the graduation, where they have to fight all the monsters to get out of the school. So that's essentially their graduation. They either fight or they die. So the concept was great. Execution, not great. So I was buddy reading this with Abby from Shell Space. I'll leave her channel down below for you to check out. She's amazing. I absolutely love her. She's such a good friend of mine. So definitely check out her channel. Anyway, we both buddy read this, and I think we both gave it the same rating. She might have rated 4 stars and I rated it 3 stars. So what I didn't like about this book was the writing style. There was a lot of exposition. So let's say if you're writing a book, right, and you're writing about the world, and then you touch upon this subject, and then you go touch upon that subject, and you touch about this thing. So it's like just a whole lot of tangent and exposition about the world and not much dialogue. I did not like that. I like things being explained, but not a 10-page exposition in the beginning. I mean, come on. It was a lot. I did not like a lot of that explanation kind of thing. I would prefer a lot more dialogue, which is why I liked the end a lot, because it was much more action-packed. It was a lot more dialogue, and it was much better. I prefer that part of the book compared to literally the rest of the book. If you've read this, let me know if you kind of have similar thoughts. I thought I liked expositions because, you know, the author gets to explain the world and like how everything works, but it was just too much. So I liked it and I didn't like it. Hence the 5.3 out of 10. And my next 3-star was The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I also gave this a 5.3 out of 10, which is a 3-star rating. I actually finished this yesterday. By the time I'm filming this, end of November. It's like 30th of November today, so I finished it yesterday, 29th. This is also a, I like it, but I don't like it as well. So Abby really liked this book. I think she read it last month. She really liked it. I think she gave it a 4.5, so I thought I would like it too. I initially did. I really liked the writing style. It was very simplistic, but then also dark at the same time. It was easy to digest, and I read it really fast. So this book is essentially about this group of people who are put on a boat to go to Amsterdam. And there's like various reasons to why each individual is going to Amsterdam. So while on this boat, things start to happen on this boat and people think the devil is on the boat and is terrorizing them and wants to kill them all before they reach Amsterdam. So that's essentially what this book is about. It's a very whodunit kind of mystery, but the whodunit is like, who's the devil? Not who's the murderer. I mean, we know the murderer is the devil, but who's the devil? Because the devil is possessing one of the passengers, so you're trying to have to figure out who the devil is. I really like that concept, and also it had the is it paranormal or does it have a rational explanation trope, which I really love. And I like what happened when we found out the truth. What I did not like was the characters. I did not connect with the characters. I did not like any of the characters, and I'm a very character-driven reader. Plot is secondary, which is why I kept on with the book, because the plot was good, but the characters were not. So I kind of hated the book, but also liked the book at the same time. It was a very, yeah, polarizing book for me. Another thing that I didn't like is a few of the twists that I actually predicted, and I didn't think that that was the twist, because I was thinking that's too predictable. And I would be very, very disappointed if that is actually the answer. And it was, and I was disappointed. I know Abby really liked this book, and I'm sorry, Abby. But I liked it, but I also didn't like it at the same time. So hence the 5.3 again. But I think if the concept appeals to you, definitely check out the book. You may like the characters more than me, so you would love the book even more. Definitely check it out. It's still a good read, and a very fast read at that as well. Oh, actually, we have another 3-star rating. Okay, so the next 3-star rating is One to Watch by Kate Damon London. I gave this a 6.6 out of 10, which is a 3-star rating. This is a adult romance, which I really wanted to read because it has a plus size rep. So I really wanted to read it, and I was very, very surprised that I found this in the library. It was just sitting there and no one was reading it. I was like, this is a very popular book. I'm surprised that no one is reading this. But anyway, basically this book is about this girl called Bia, and she is a plus size fashion blogger, and she gets, I guess, recruited to be on the main squeeze, which is basically bachelorette TV show. That kind of thing where you just stand there and pick one guy out of 25 guys. So that's what's happening in here. And we follow her journey to find the one, or the one she wants to be with. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the plus size rep and like the topics that they talk about that I definitely relate to. What I didn't like was the multiple romances, I guess, because there's 25 guys that she has to choose from, and I wasn't really invested in that. I can see the clear winner of who she's going to be with, and there was an unnecessary conflict between that. So I didn't like that. I definitely just realized while reading this book that I like one-to-one romance, not multiple. Love triangle, it's okay. I like one-to-one romance now, so hence why it's a 3-star. I still really enjoyed it. So if you haven't read this, definitely read it. It's so much fun. Read it, see how you like it. Alright, so let's get on to the 4-star ratings. So the lowest 4-star rating that I have is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. If you haven't checked out my Poppy War reading vlog, I'll link it up above and down below. I did a dedicated reading vlog and like my thoughts and feelings about this, so I won't go too much into my thoughts and feelings about this. So I gave this a 8.1 out of 10, which is a 4-star rating. So this is a adult Asian inspired fantasy that follows the Japanese Sino War. This is a very, very dark book. Not sure if it's a grimdark book. A few people have told me since my reading vlog that it's not classified as grimdark, but some people have said it's grimdark. So I'm just gonna say it's a very dark book, okay? Look up trigger warnings before you get into this. I really enjoyed it. I did have a few issues in this book, but overall I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to read The Dragon Republic. And the last 4-star book that I read was The Troop by Nick Cutter. I gave this a 8.6 out of 10. This was a time and a half. Wow. So this is a adult horror novel, and a lot of people have been saying how gory it was, and let me tell you, they were right. This was so gory. I read this, I think, in about 3 days or 2 days, and the entire time I was disgusted the entire time. It was really good, even though it was disgusting at the same time. So we basically follow these, I guess, group of boys and their scoutmaster who go to this isolated island in Canada, and they go there every year for like a hike trail kind of thing and like camping for their scouts thing. Yeah, I know this. Okay. So anyway, they're on this isolated island, and then this mysterious man who is infected with something come onto this island and start creating havoc. I really enjoyed this. I really did. Definitely look up trigger warnings for this. I will say there's a lot of animal abuse in this. I did not expect that. I will never look at a worm the same way ever again. Ever again. But anyway, pick this up. I think you might enjoy this. Now, let's get to the highlight of my November. Alright, so these are all the 5-star books for November, and it is the Full Metal Alchemist manga series. So I'm buddy reading this with Lezlie from the Nerdy Narrative and Una from the Codex Cantina. I will link both their channels down below. I love them so much. Anyway, we're having a time buddy reading this. So we basically read 1 volume per day. I think we started mid-November, and we actually stopped to volume 10 because Lezlie has to get some volumes from her library, so we've stopped, and there's a massive cliffhanger in volume 10. So all of this is 5 stars. I absolutely love this manga. Oh my god, it's hilarious, it's dark, I love the characters. Ed and Alphonse, I love them so much. I really do. And I love this manga series a lot, and I cannot wait to finish it. There's 27 volumes and we're on volume 10. So 1 volume per day. It'll take a while. I'll probably read it in December as well. Very excited to finish this. I really love it. If you haven't picked up Full Metal Alchemist, definitely do. It has to do with alchemy, and it's not, it seems magical, but it's science, which I really love. I really love scientific explanation to magic because it's logical, and I like that. Definitely check this out if you haven't. We, Lezlie, Una, and me, we love this so much, and we cannot get enough of the short jokes. So that's all the books I read in October and November. I'm not going to carry them because there's a lot of them. Those are a lot of books for 2 months, but I'm happy with them. I am happy I read Jade War. I'm happy that I'm reading Full Metal Alchemist. I love them so much. They make me happy. So let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what your favorites were from October and November. I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. And I will see you in my next one. Bye!
Bye.